Welcome to our April 15th. It's tax day today, 2025. It's the Ogden City Council meeting. Let the roll call reflect that. All council members are present with the exceptions of Chair White, who is electronic with us today, I believe. Chair White, would you like to say hello?
Well, hopefully this works.
Hey, we do hear you. That's good. That's
all right, good.
Good news. Okay, we have asked a member of our audience today, one of our veterans. He goes by Mr. Vigilante, and we asked him to lead us in the pledge today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now, if you would please join us for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is acknowledgments, and we do have one that is on the agenda today, Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and we've asked Councilmember Myers if he would present that one for us.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. We recognize Wednesday, April 30th, as Denim Day, observed during Sexual Assault Awareness Month. This day serves as a reminder that sexual violence and victim blaming have no place in our community. We stand with survivors and acknowledge the difficult realities that they face. We also recognize the critical work done by local organizations like the YCC, who lead efforts in prevention, education, and survivor support. We're honored to have the Executive Director of the YCC, Danette Stanger, here with us tonight and acknowledge her presence. Our role is to listen, to learn, and support those working on the front lines. We encourage our community to engage in meaningful ways that promote safety, equity, and hearing for all. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Okay. I don't have to redo everything, do we? Okay. That's good. All right. We have next item is new business, proposed financial auditor contract. And
Minutes.
Well, I turned my page over and skipped too far. Yeah, let's do the minutes. Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate you guys keeping me in line. So, approval of minutes, the joint work session on March 4th, 2025. Councilmember Blair?
Yes, thank you. I have reviewed those minutes and found them to be accurate.
And the regular meeting of March 4th, 2025. Councilmember Tabarka?
Yes, Vice Chair, I've read those, and they're correct to my recollection.
And finally, the joint work session of March 11th, 2025. Councilmember Graff?
Yes, I've reviewed them and find them to be correct to the best of my recollection, and I move that we accept the minutes as put forth.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Graff, second by Councilmember Blair to approve the minutes. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, they stand approved. Now we'll go to the new business. Proposed financial auditor contract. Mr. Symes, welcome.
Thank you very much. I know you guys are just so eager to hear about auditing contracts. It's just the most exciting thing you're going to hear about all night. So on your agenda tonight is a proposal for you to adopt a new contract with an auditor. So the city's current contract for auditing services ended with the FY24 audit. And in January, the City Council office published a new RFP for auditing services. This RFP was published on the city's website and in the Standard Examiner 2 separate times, and was also sent to a list of what are called disadvantaged business enterprises. And this is a list that's put together by the city's purchasing division, and they research federal databases and websites of relevant businesses categorized as small, minority, women, veteran-owned, and other disadvantaged enterprises, with most of those firms being in Utah, some in the surrounding areas. So there were 79 businesses on that list as well. So that's who it was noticed to. So the RFP period closed in February, and the city received just one proposal, and that was from HBME. HBME has been the city's auditor for the past 5 years. Staff is very happy with them, but we still wanted to ensure that a proper review took place of the proposal. So in order to do that, an internal review committee was created to review and score the proposal based on the criteria that was listed in the RFP. And this group included representatives from the council office, finance staff, and community development. So in addition to that internal review, the city's financial audit committee reviewed the proposal in a public meeting on March 19th. The committee reviewed the proposal, received a presentation from HBME, and voted to recommend approval of HBME to the council as the city's auditor. The proposal for the council is to approve the contract for the auditing services with HBME. The contract that you have is for 3 years with an option for 2 additional years if approved by the council. So that contract would cover the audits for fiscal years 2025, 26, and 27, with the 2-year extension covering 28 and 29. So if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions for Mr. Symes? I guess HBM is really kind of the only show in town for a while now, huh?
Yep. So we did just have one, and one thing I didn't mention was that in addition to those other reviews with the internal committee and the audit committee, I was able to contact the references that they submitted and talk to some of the other cities. One of the other cities south of us, they went through the RFP process at the same time. They did the same kind of advertising, and they actually did targeted advertising, and they also only ended up with one. And that actually was HBME. So, yeah, it seems like the pool is shrinking a little bit. Something that we'll consider in a few years when we do this again is, just making sure we get the word out to everybody.
Okay.
Vice Chair, I think I'd also make a comment that within HBME, they have different folks that can participate in different ways, engaging in the city, and so it's not necessarily the same auditor every time. So there's some of that to help.
Fresh eyes.
Yeah, fresh eyes. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I also have the privilege of sitting on that audit committee and received the report a little more in detail about HBME, and they just have an outstanding process in their auditing procedures. And also want to acknowledge our financial staff here at the city, because only variance that they found that was, I can remember today, that was out of alignment was that our reserves were a little bit higher than what they should have been, which is a good problem to have. But part of that was a result of the fact that the interest rates were a little bit higher than what we anticipated. But I just am so impressed with HBME, with their procedures and their policies. And I think they just shine the light on our city and the strictness and exactness of how our administrative financial staff is taking care of our city. So it's a real positive for me to express my gratitude to these two entities, to our city financial administration city and HBME. They've just done a phenomenal job. And with that having been said, I'd like to make a motion that we approve Resolution 2025-7 and adopt that contract with HBME.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Myers, second by Councilmember Ritchie, to adopt proposed resolution 2025-7. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Councilmember Traburka?
Aye.
Councilmember Graff?
Aye.
Councilmember Myers?
Aye.
Councilmember Ritchie?
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer?
Aye.
Chair White?
Aye. Yay.
That passes unanimously. That will be good to get them back moving for us again. So, all right. The next item on our agenda is public comment. This is
Vice Chair Heyer,
Yes.
is Danette still there?
Yes.
She is.
It was just an acknowledgement, but if we could have her just say a couple of words, if you don't mind. I know it's public comment, so maybe.
Sure, you're the boss, so
just a little bit
to do that.
Well, I mean, it was great, and I really appreciate the acknowledgement, and I just a couple of minutes, maybe, Danette, if you would come up and explain why we do it or why you do it, and why it's important.
She's coming up.
And I'm putting you on the spot.
I am so happy to be put on the spot, so thank you. My name is Danette Stinger, and I have been the Executive Director at YCC Family Crisis Center since the beginning of this year, about January. But I've been with the organization for many years, for about 8 years, and I appreciate so much Ogden City taking a moment to recognize Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Meeting the needs of survivors of sexual violence is really an issue that takes all of us to come together to support and empower and uplift people who have experienced these really difficult crimes. At YCC Family Crisis Center, we're often known for being a domestic violence shelter and those services, but April gives us a month, to really focus on another important area, and that is that sexual violence is really prevalent in our community and in our nation, and it needs that spotlight shined on it so that we can improve outcomes for survivors. We have a team of 4 case managers and advocates and a whole team of hospital response team advocates that are available to support survivors 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. What we want people to know is services are available, that they're free, that they're confidential, and we are here to help. And it's also something, when we look at the history of YCC, we are entering our 80th year of being in existence. And YCC was one of the first sexual violence support centers in the state of Utah. So this issue has been going on for a long time. And it used to be something that was really hard to talk about. It was hard to address. And it was one of those issues in our community that we've struggled to overcome. But I truly believe that through the support of our city, of our community, volunteers, and people that are dedicated to ending sexual violence, that we are making extreme amounts of progress and support for survivors as we move forward. And I just want to take a moment on behalf of my staff, myself, and the survivors that we serve, and thank you guys for taking just a moment out of this busy meeting to acknowledge this really important month. Really quickly, because Denim Day was mentioned, I want to tell you a little bit about that. That is actually an international movement where understanding sexual violence and where it comes from is the purpose of Denim Day, and it comes from a court case out of Italy where the survivor was found to have contributed to the crime because she was wearing tight pants, and if she hadn't wanted that event to happen, she couldn't have taken those off. And so Denim Day started as a movement when a person was not held accountable for their crime, and so the prosecutors and the advocates wore denim to support that survivor, and it has since become an international movement. So on April 30th and throughout certain days throughout the month, we'll be wearing denim to just show solidarity for victims of sexual violence. Another thing that our organization is doing is we have an art exhibit at the Monarch to kind of bring light to people who are wearing all different types of things when they're sexually assaulted, that it's never the survivor's fault that this happened to them. It's not due to what they were wearing or where they were at, that the root cause of sexual violence needs to be placed on people that are perpetrating that crime, and we reduce victim blaming and support survivors. So that's just a little bit about this month and what we're doing, and we appreciate your support in getting the messaging out there that all of our community partners can refer clients and survivors regardless of when their assault happened, whether it was previously in their life or in childhood. We are here to support survivors today, tomorrow, and in the future. So we thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks,
Thank
Annette.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll have public comment. To be considerate of everyone, please limit your comments to 3 minutes and give us your name for the record.
Right. So my name is Cliff, but I go by the Vigilante, and I live here in Utah. I was noticing when I came into the door the rules of decorum here. I want to talk about the Constitution a little bit because it's very important to me. I swore an oath to it when I was 17 years old, and it's pretty important. And I want to just start by the First Amendment. First Amendment of the Constitution. I'm going to start with religion. We can practice it or not practice it. And we can worship any God we want to or not, as was demonstrated here tonight. Assembly. We're all here, assembled. And we have a right to be here. It's an individual right. So if there was just one in the room, we'd have a right to be here. Okay? The next one is press. I have a camera. I plan on disseminating that to the public. It's an individual right. We all have a right to be press. Petition. petition or redress our grievances to the government, which means, and you're part of the government, right? So if we have a grievance, we have a right to redress our government. And that means that brings us to speech. It means we can say anything we want. So we can disparage if we want to. It's a constitutional right, and you can't infringe on that. We can cuss. We can say whatever we want in our 3 minutes here. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Anyone else? Looks like we're going to arm wrestle.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Didn't want them to close shop before I
Yeah, we closed it down quick.
My name is Dr. Walt English. I live in Syracuse, Utah. I'm here tonight to seek justice against 6 of your police officers of the Ogden Police Department. They are Sergeant Hill, Officer Moore, Officer Parker, Officer Tolman, Officer Eduardi, and Officer Velawis. Recently, I have documented over 21 Utah state laws they have broken and 9 federal laws they have broken. I am here today to ask you, you're the mayor, correct? The mayor, to press criminal charges against these 6 officers, and after your investigation, terminate all officers from the Ogden Police Department. Additionally, I want to call your attention to the following egregious and unnecessary acts of violence and excessive force against citizens of Ogden committed by your shameful police department. The beating of Rand Brim, Sean Sims, Darcy Layton, the murder of Giovanni Mercado, a duel. Let's not forget that the years of harassment of Dawn Marie Newman and the fact that Master Sergeant, and I would like you to look into this, Mayor, Buck placed a false and illegal, put her name on a gang list, which has ruined her ability to renew her dental hygiene license with the state, and with constant jailing at the whims of the Ogden Police Department. In addition, there are 13 other women that live in Weber that have had their lives turned upside down and ruined by the Ogden Police Department. Additionally, on September 17th, the thugs of the Ogden Police Department showed up to the Utah Department of Child and Family Services and arrested Dawn Marie and me and kidnapped us. They arrested her on a squashed warrant out of Arizona, which had been expunged on the 16th, the day before of September. Also note that this was the 4th time that Ogden police had used the same warrant to arrest Dawn Newman. The Ogden Police Department are grossly untrained and uneducated in the civil rights of citizens of Utah, and the above-mentioned actions against the citizens of Ogden clearly demonstrate the criminal and unprofessional conduct of the officers of the Ogden Police Department. Finally, note, rated by the national organization Police Scoreboard, Ogden Police Department was and still is rated as the 2nd worst police department in Utah. The biggest problems cited in this report were lack of accountability and transparency, and emphasis on the fact that the Ogden Police Department doesn't take citizens' complaints seriously. And of the 11 mentioned...
Walt, you've exceeded your 3 minutes.
Well, okay. Can I just finish this up? I'll probably take about another minute.
Not for another whole minute. If you just had a few seconds, then that would be okay. But
well,
for fairness, we have a 3-minute limit.
Well, there's such a big line waiting.
I know.
Now, for you, being the mayor, okay.
Anybody else?
I'm going to give you this. This is my. I want to give it to you. This is my complaint. What you should start doing is putting a suspense date to the police department. Sure.
We got to move on.
This is my report. I can talk to you.
Not during our meeting. You're interrupting our meeting.
Well, I don't know your rules, do I?
Well, I'm telling you what the rules are. You've exceeded your 3 minutes. So
you should develop a suspense system with your police department that all.
Please sit down, sir.
Come across your desk.
Please sit down now, sir.
That's 7 months ago.
Hey, your time's up.
7 months ago.
Please sit down.
The laws that they have, that they violate.
Do we need to take a recess?
We've got our officer taking care of it.
Thank you.
Not a dog.
Okay, Laura?
Laura Lewis, Ogden City resident. I would like to comment on what that, I didn't come here to do this, but since it came up. I happen to have been a neighbor of Dawn Marie Newman's, and there was a lot of police presence. They would sneak around our neighborhood, go through our backyards to get to her house. And I didn't know her real well, but I never saw any gang activity or anything up at that house. It's a mystery to me what happened to her and while she's in jail. And I would like to know what happened there. I'm not saying she wasn't responsible for what happened, but there was so many officers sneaking around our neighborhood. Her little boy disappeared, and that's when it all started. But anyway, that's not what I came to talk about. First of all, Mayor, I watched one of your podcasts. I think it was a week ago Friday, where it was you and your wife. And I found that to be very productive, that format, because you went over issues that I don't feel, when we have those really heated arguments, I don't think all the information comes out. So we really never know why decisions are made and the reasons. So it's really nice, that format, when you can go back and review those. The housing, I had no idea. We had 2,000 apartment buildings already committed to this city, and I would be cussing you for that. So now I don't have to. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about were the fees. Kind of made me really nervous when I first looked at those fees, and I saw $25 and to rent a pickleball court, and $19.50 for lights, and then I saw a membership fee. And I just want to clarify a couple of things. So if I buy a senior pass for $250, that gets me into the facility to do whatever I want once I'm in there.
The way I understand it, yeah.
Okay.
I think the classes would be separate.
Yeah,
the classes are separate. But if I want to make sure, it sounds like there's only going to be guaranteed one court open for members. The other two could be already reserved. So if I want to reserve a court, I pay an additional $26 to reserve that court in addition to my membership. Is that correct? And I know you can't answer. And then I understand from the way they were talking, these were 3 outdoor courts. And I thought we were going to have some indoor courts. I thought there were at least that previously we had them on the basketball courts. The lines were painted on there as well, and then we took out courts. Are they still going to be there? And what was the other thing I had on here? Well, I'm glad you're honoring silver sneakers. That's a real benefit for seniors. And then are you going to start charging for the other public courts, outdoor courts? And why is this the exception?
We will get you some answers. We have somebody here that knows the answers to all those things. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council?
Deborah Darrington. I appreciate the opportunity of being in your work sessions. I come a little bit more prepared to these meetings and feel like a more beneficial citizen to the community knowing what's going on. I was not aware that Jeanette was going to be here from the YCC. And I want to thank the YCC, both locally and nationwide. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would join the ranks of a survivor of both SA and DV. But it has no boundaries. There is no intelligence level or any financial situation, no upbringing, no religion that prevents a person from falling victim to that. And so I stand here as a proud survivor and very grateful because the day that I stood trembling to get a permanent PO, 2 members, unbeknownst to me, showed up from the YCC, and I found myself standing with them instead of standing alone, and I am grateful for that. In regards to the Marshall White, when I moved to Ogden, my now almost 20-year-old twins were 6 years old, and Marshall White was a godsend for our family, and they took the kayak classes probably 8 times because it gave them free entry into the pool. And so I'm so excited to see that reopening. We are fortunate to, over the years, have had season passes to Disneyland, and the only way we were able to afford those was because our annual fee was broken up in monthly payments. And so that would be something that I would ask that you consider with the Marshall White. There are those that fall into a category where they are able to qualify for a lesser or a discounted rate, but there are very, very many of our citizens that go to work every single day, but because of a medical situation or because their father or mother works on commission or because their work is seasonal, they may not be able to come up with that $600 for a membership for their family. And an easy way to balance that out, I would suggest maybe $60 for 10 consecutive months, and then the last 2 are free. And that comes November and December, which frees up money for Christmas. And then lastly is on a personal note from what has been a very passionate subject down with the acquisition of Aspen. I do have a property there that I could care less if I make money on it, but I do think it would be something that would make a major contribution in cleaning up that area. So if there is anything that property could benefit the city for, I am open to discussion on that. It is a beautiful 22,000 square foot property. We have just done a facelift on the outside, but we are ready to gut the inside. So if there's anything that the city needs that would benefit in that area, my time and property are yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? You have a hand raised online. Heath Sato.
Hi, everyone. Heath Sato, Ogden resident. First off, in regards to the proposal discussed in the work session today, the rezoning of 2850 Washington from CP3 to R3, I'd like to speak up in support of that as you guys consider that. I'm sure you know the Dailies are well-respected, longtime community members whose businesses have strengthened our local connections, mostly in their coffee shops. I have no doubt they'll thoughtfully develop that property, and I know it's a challenging property that's remained vacant for years. Since it's located within walking distance of the heart of downtown, I think this project aligns with our goals to increase housing density in our central area. I really strongly prefer smaller, self-funded, community-focused development like this by established residents over the taxpayer-subsidized mega projects by outside developers we've been seeing so much of in recent years. And I really feel like we need to stop getting in the way of good local developers. This is precisely the kind of development our city should support, and the Daily shouldn't be penalized for the long lag in the city's zoning reform process. So I hope you'll think about that. And speaking of our growing vision of a more walkable city and mega projects, I'm growing concerned about the increasing length of delay for the paid parking system that was intended to fund the parking decks we are paying the Wonderblock developers to build in order to support their development. I'd like to know where we currently stand on implementation, whether we're considering abandoning the system altogether, and if so, how the city plans to address the significant debt obligation. Thanks.
Thanks, Heath. Anyone else? Okay. Comments from the mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're going to address some of these things. Maybe we could have Taylor come up and address some of these first.
Oh, he just moved. I'll, if you don't mind, I'll just leave the Marshall White for Taylor.
Great. Sounds
I'll just say I'm not going to comment on ongoing prosecutions. I'll leave it at that. Thank you for your assistance tonight. To Laura, thanks for listening to the podcast. That's actually the intent, is that, is our world just boiled down to a talking point or a line or however many characters fit within a certain social media. Yet day-to-day life for America is much more difficult than that. And so we're making decisions, right? I feel like we as Americans, and I certainly we can't change it for all of America, but we can do our best to change it here, is I just want people to know where I'm coming from when I make decisions. And I don't expect everybody to agree with me. And I think it's okay that they don't. I would ask that people would just respect that it's a decision that has to be made, that I'm in a position that I need to take in a lot of information, hear a lot of different viewpoints. I need to take into consideration the immediate situation before us. I also need to think bigger picture and longer term. That's the job of the mayor. It's a very singular position for that reason. And I just want people to know that I do take my decision making and my job real seriously, and that there's rationale and information that usually informs my decisions. And so thanks for taking time to frankly suspend belief and just listen and learn. And I don't mind whatever decision you land on. I think that we owe it to each other in Ogden to allow that space for each other and to just accept and to agree that we just have a disagreement. It doesn't mean that we are good versus evil, you versus them versus us, left versus right, or whatever tribalism. We're just good people trying to make good decisions and trying to use the best information we possibly can to do it. The point you made about the apartments, yes, when I took office, there were 2,000 to 3,000 already approved apartment units. People are still seeing them go up now. And yes, I am blamed for those, and that's fine. It's the job. But the point is there are still some coming, and that these things take time to unwind. Land use decisions are really hard. We live in a city that's built out. We have a lot of historic structures like churches. Nothing about gutting that church is simple or straightforward. It's not new construction. And it makes decisions like the rezone you guys were considering in the work session. Thank you, Heath, for your comments and support. It makes every little oblong and flag-shaped lot and everything, it's just complicated, and it makes every decision a lot harder than just brand new construction on empty farmland. And so what's the point of that format is I asked my wife to come in and to essentially interview me from time to time on topics of complexity and difficulty. And so thank you for taking that opportunity. If you could, David Sawyer's in the back. If you wanted to connect and talk about that property, that would be good. Thanks for that offer. And Taylor, do you have any insights on the Marshall White questions to help me with that?
I believe specifically the question was about the pickleball and the use of that. So if you pay to get into the facility, like we mentioned with that, you're able to go and use the pickleball courts and to engage in those activities. The reason why we had it is in the event someone wanted to rent, say, a specific court or something later into the night. So there are portions of that facility you could rent and utilize as a purpose, but you don't have to pay that fee to go play pickleball. It's just available to members who are coming in using Marshall White. We'll have 3 courts, so it'll be awesome, but hopefully plenty of space for a little bit until we have to raise rates. Long time down the road.
Okay.
I forgot to answer the parking question too.
Okay.
Thanks for the note on that, Heath. Just last night, I believe it was. I think it was last night. Our parking advisory committee had their last meeting, and I'm looking forward to an update on their final recommendations to me to consider for final recommendations to you. And I'm sorry that you're frustrated by the delays, but the business community, some do share the frustration. Some don't. Some are very appreciative of the delay and having an opportunity to be at the table and to hear more information and have more detail to give some input. And now, frankly, the dynamic's been really good. They've been super constructive and helpful. Really pinpointed where the pain points are from the business standpoint. And there is a whole range of issues and concerns which we're aware of. But I do think that recent activity in Electric Alley has really highlighted the need for a parking management plan. We are and have long been at the hands and at the mercy of others when it comes to downtown parking, and it's becoming really disruptive for downtown businesses and for patrons, frankly. And so we are also in a hurry. We're not in a hurry to mess it up, but we want to make sure we're in a hurry to get it right. We're very mindful of the bond and the debt burden associated with that and the oncoming payments for it. But I don't want to be making decisions solely on that. I want to make decisions that make it work for Ogden the best that we can. And I think that we're landing in that spot, and I will be preparing recommendations for your consideration in the near future. And we can come forward with more specifics on dates and so on when I have a better sense for what they're recommending. A couple quick things too. We've discussed it internally. We've tried to communicate it externally. The venues we've tried to communicate with haven't picked it up, so I just want to be really transparent with it here. Congratulations to Taylor Nielsen on his recent appointment to Deputy CAO position. Taylor Nielsen, he's been with us for a lot of years. He's known as a doer and a builder. He absolutely is an executor and gets things done. He's our city engineer. He'll maintain that title and that role for a while, and that's a really important role by statute and critical that we keep, especially in light of the massive infrastructure projects that are underway, like the pipeline project. But without Taylor, we wouldn't have been able to, and many, many others. We would not be where we're at on the pipeline. We wouldn't be where we're at on Marshall White. We wouldn't be where we're at with Wonder Block. We wouldn't be where we're at making progress on parking. We wouldn't be where we're at on a number of things. And so Taylor's going to be taking lead for us on a number of critical projects. He'll be leading from the 9th floor, reporting directly to Mara as the CAO. And that's going to relieve a lot of burden from Mara that she has been unable to keep up with the pace and the workload. And she can focus on the executive oversight and the administrative management of the city day to day, making sure that the communication and coordination and collaboration internally is aligned with the same communication and collaboration that we are leading out between me and Cindy externally. And with that way, we'll have executive function internally, external collaboration, plus priority projects all going in the same direction with executive leadership from the 9th floor of this organization. So, Taylor Nielsen, congratulations. Thank you for stepping up. We're thrilled to have you. We did a national search. We had a lot of candidates. We had external panelists from other cities and participate, and everybody was unanimous in our very own Taylor Nielsen being the top candidate. And one of the projects that I'm excited to get more progress going on is going to be the Union Station. It's critically important for the future of our city. It's been everything for the history of our city, and we don't want that to change. So finally, we're getting the pieces in place to start to finally build toward some big projects and big results. And that'll do it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members, any comments? Doesn't look like it. To kind of address the chaos that happened earlier. I also am a big fan of the Constitution, and I understand it pretty well as a lay citizen. But you cannot interrupt a meeting where people do have redress to the government by causing chaos. That's just never appropriate. That's not part of what the Constitution protects. And so I think we just need to be, and I'm sorry I was a little slow on the uptake when things started kind of getting out of hand. It takes you a minute to kind of realize what's going on. But I do appreciate those of you who are here and have respectfully addressed us. Those comments are always welcome. So thank you for your comments earlier today. And unless there's something else, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
There was just one thing, maybe.
Sure.
Mr. Sadow's belief that the Dailies were developing that multifamily project on Washington Boulevard, and that is not the case. The Dailies developed the storefront facing or fronting Washington Street, and this is a separate development proposal that came to us in the form of a rezone request tonight.
All right. Thank you. Still looking for that motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Blair, second by Councilmember Richard to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I don't know why I even asked that question. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night.